Welcome. It's a very lovely Sunday evening as usual. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. My name is Fentu, Tahiru Fentu. The number one highlight show in the whole country. We are on till 10:30 p.m. From now till then, 90 minutes, we'll play back some of the best sporting action from the weekend, put perspective on it, and of course, share your views on all of them as much as possible. So what's on the menu today? The Super 2 clash came off at the Accra Sports Stadium. It was a 0-0 draw, but there's plenty to unpack in that particular game. The Premier League title race is well and truly back on after Tottenham Hotspur's masterclass at the Etihad allowed Liverpool to close the gap on Manchester City. In Italy, well, the leaders, the top three, all of them failing to win. AC Milan were held, Inter Milan were shocked at home, Juventus also drawing. In Spain, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is opening his account in Barcelona. Real Madrid cruising at the top. In Germany, oh goodness me, a thumping victories for both Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. We'll play by that action for you. We have NBA action as well. It was the All-Star weekend in the NBA. We'll show you what the slam dunk contest and the three-point contest, who the winners are and what the winning shots were in those particular games. So it's a very packed show as usual. We are on for the next 90 minutes. Of course, my name is Fentu. Here, Fentu. The show is live and interactive. You can send us a message. The number is on your screen, 0550-585-832. Alternatively, and preferably, leave me a message on Twitter using the hashtag Scorecard. I'll retweet them and share them with the rest of our viewers. Welcome to the show. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, I will introduce my guest and we go straight up into unloading what's being a packed show. Welcome back. Like I said, Scorecard is live and interactive, so send me a message on the WhatsApp number on your screen. Also, leave me a message on Twitter. Use the hashtag Scorecard. Whatever your views are on any of the sporting action that happened over the weekend, I'm very interested. Amir Khan was also beaten this weekend by his longtime rival, Kell Brooks, in that fight in the UK. Khan says he's considering retiring after that particular fight. But let me introduce my guests, my two good friends, Coach Christopher Nimley and Daniel Cranton, joining me this evening as usual. Coach, let's start with you. How are you? You look very nice.
You know, today I'm very happy.
Oh, God.
You made me happy, isn't it? Isn't it? But that was a very good one. You didn't make me complain enough. He gave me the chance to talk to Madam today. And I'm always grateful. You know, she's a very good friend. And everything is set. Now I trust you. I trust your handiwork. Very conspicuous. Good features. Clearly for everybody to see. But I like your taste though. Shake. Boza. Give me Boza. Fancy. Oh no. Charlie.
How are you?
Why are you not listening to others? What's wrong with this man? I said I'm very happy. Oh, God. You know my mood. You made me very happy today.
Yeah.
And I'm most grateful. And like you said, every Sunday you have to call for me to talk to her. But that was the agreement, isn't it?
Why do you keep asking, isn't it? You just make things up. And then you don't ask me, isn't it?
And you know what he said?
What is it?
He told the lady that because of the things I do, all his admirers, which admirer do you want again? After this one is not good for you, you want another admirer? You better behave.
Daniel, how are you?
But she's a beautiful lady.
Yeah.
I trust her.
Nimley, would you keep quiet?
Is she not beautiful?
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Daniel, you are okay, eh?
I'm very good.
That's good, man. Now we can start the show.
Charlie. You are that anchor that no child wants to come around because you have no censorship. You expose everybody.
No, one, it is good thing and it is godly. You have to make everybody aware.
All right, guys. Let's begin. Don't mind Christopher Nimley. Let's begin showing you some highlights. Daniel Cranton was the one that covered this game at the Accra Sports Stadium. It was between Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, an outstanding Week 7 game in the Ghana Premier League. The Super Class, it was built up to be one that was supposed to be one-sided. Kumasi Asante Kotoko showing imperious form in the lead-up to this game. Hearts of Oak struggling. In the end, the spoils were shared. Take a look at the highlights.
Underway here in Accra. Here is Obin Jr. Lovely control on the left foot. Good back from Bania. Here is Awako. Awako! Brilliant save from Danlad Ibrahim. It's a corner for the Phobians.
Aglasna Awako offers support to Bania, who finds him as well. Drags the ball to his weaker side. His left.
Game involving Kotoko and Hassan. Awako swings one in. It's headed away by Afwakwa. Fatal gets the header. Mutari! Great save from Richard Atta. Nearly beaten.
But once the ball pops back to Esmaniam with a suit, just dinks it over top for Etuga. Etuga's improvising because he knows he can't hit it with his left.
It's Barnier. He beats Ganyu to it. Here is Barnier. Now Obin Jr. Obin Jr. against the woodwork.
And Barnier is aware of where his strike partner is. Obin Jr. just controls the ball onto his left. Does everything right. Beats Danlad, but not the post.
Scored against us when he played for Inter Allies last season. Now it's in Fege. Goes past Kosa in Fege. Goalkeeper Richard Atta to the rescue of the Phobians. He wouldn't be beaten at that near post Atta. Yes, Rustum Senogbe whistles for the end of the first half here at the Accra Sports Stadium. Asante Kotoko, and it's the Phobians who gets us going for the second half. Here's Asma. He beats Mohamed Al Hassan to it. Asma's cross! And Etuga can't find his 12th goal of the season.
Look at Etuga, who holds his run on the penalty spot area. Should be doing a lot better with it because he's got time, he's got space.
Kosa in trouble. He gives away possession. It is Infege. Now Lamte. Great save from goalkeeper Richard Atta to deny Richmond Lamte for the second time.
Kotoko. Infege does the right thing here. I was wondering if Lamte could have gone with the first time, but he controlled the ball into fitness.
Here's Kotoko. There's an appeal for a penalty, but the flag was already up for offside. Game set to produce, no winner, and there we have it. It's over. Here are the...
All right, so no goal, but lots and lots of chances for either team, really. But in the end, nobody could score. Before we start to unpack, let me just show you what this result means for the table at the moment. In the Ghana Premier League was the only outstanding game before the end of the first round. Now the first round is complete, and every team must play 17 matches. Kotoko are top with 37 points. Bachem United have 30, 7 points behind. Great Olympics with 28 points as well, 9 points behind Kotoko. And the Jana Stars completing the top 4. If you're looking for Hearts of Oak, you have to go all the way down to 8th position with 25 points. They are now some 12 points behind Kotoko. So can they claw back that gap and possibly retain the title? That is the ultimate question now. The bottom 3 in the Ghana Premier League, Wafa, 11 Wonders, and Elmina Sharks. The second round of the league will start this very weekend as well. So there's no time for any sort of break. Very exciting game. I'd like to start with Daniel Cranty, who was at the stadium. Daniel, basically unpack everything for me. I mean, from the attendance to the game itself, the football itself. It was 0-0, but it was far from eventful.
Let's start from the attendance. It's like we are not serious in this country. It was Friday night that the directive for 30,000 capacity was given. This was something that a lot of us were calling for, and if we were serious, we would have done those consultations during the week and given the clubs ample time to prepare towards the 30,000. We also saw the chaos around ticket sales, and it showed on the match day. It showed whilst the game was going on. There were lots of people outside who wanted tickets. The funny thing was that that bad culture of hoarding tickets still happened. And a lot of people who were holding those tickets, those overpriced tickets, the guys were outside just couldn't afford it. I don't see why I should buy a 50 Ghana ticket for 200 cedis. I'd rather wait and then watch the highlights on Star Times. And that's what happened. And a lot of people were outside the stadium. You could see the empty seats at the end of the day, although the attendance was okay. But if you look at the directive, proper planning, it could easily have been better. Let's go on to the action. This was one of the most interesting goalless draws I've ever watched. It was action-packed, nothing short of dramatic. You saw the flying tackles and those things that accompany a huge derby, and everything was in the game. In terms of what's transpired in the game, I choose to look at the game as it was a game of either half. I think Hearts of Oak completely dominated the first half in terms of possession and chances created. The glaring opportunities that they created, and we've seen it from the highlights. The most glaring one was Obeng Jr.'s chance. I said it somewhere, 9 out of 10 he will score that chance. It's just happened that today was that 1 out of 10 that he would miss, and then he missed it. You look at Suli Ali Muntari's chance, and it was quite early in the game, and this is why I'm a bit disappointed, because of a player of his experience should be able to have that composure and finish a chance. It was the acrobatic effort was a bit unnecessary, and when you look back at it, it was a very good opportunity, because he could easily have brought the ball down and had enough time to pick a spot and finish it. So it was a bit disappointing. But in the second half, and everybody who was at the stadium could tell that the way the first half went, Kotoko will change something and come out much better in the second half, and it should. Hearts of Oak in the second half, when they had the ball, it was a bit noisy. They were not necessarily doing anything with the ball. And I think the substitution of Suli Muntari also changed the complexion of the game. Hearts in the first half were picking out passes from the midfield. The transition was much quicker. Ali Muntari was going for his precise long balls, which usually spark the attacks. But in the second half, when he got off the pitch, they tried to progress things a bit slowly, allow Kotoko to regroup and defend much better. And the Kotoko attack just seemed a bit more sharper in the second half, especially through Fatal's side. We saw Mfuege doing some good work for a forward player who is playing or a centre forward who is playing on the wings. I think he did quite a good job. We've seen him play in this position quite a number of times this season, but I think he held his own in that position. And you looked at Lamte's contribution. Mudasiri was a bit disappointing on the day, and you also have to credit Samuel Boedu and his tactical approach to try and stifle Mudasiri's movement, and it worked on the day. But Lamte was good. It's just some of the decision making that let his team down. Yeah. But all in all, I think it was a game of two halves. But if you're looking at the magnitude of chances created, I feel Hearts of Oak should have been at least 2 up.
They had the clearer opportunity.
They had the clearer opportunity, at least 2 up at half time. And you see, if you look at the dynamics of the game, once it passed the 70th minute and it was goalless, and you could clearly tell that the Hearts of Oak attack was struggling. They were not creating as an opening, making as many openings as they were in the first half. The fluidity of the passing was a bit stale in the second half, and you could tell that in Kotoko's minds, if you are not going to score, then we don't really need to force the issue and open up. So then Kotoko started to just play the ball around, pass it out, and then try and waste some time and just see off the game. And you can understand them if they are 7 points ahead of the second place team. There was no reason for them to risk it and lose. So it was a good display. But for Hearts of Oak, you see, a lot of people are praising Hearts' performance in this game. But I feel it's a trend that we've seen throughout the season, and it's a bit disappointing that it manifested in this game, because if you look at Hearts throughout the season, they play very well. They create chances. The finishing has been a problem. We were here last week talking about Isaac Mensah's chance. 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, we were talking about, I think it was Aveime Drogba who missed the golden opportunity. I've forgotten the game. But we've seen this trend continue over and over this season. And you expect that in the big games, you'll be able to find that killer instinct and be able to finish off the chances. So for me, I don't... yes, the performance in terms of big games was an improvement, but it's still the same old things that we are seeing, and it's not the best.
I mean, Nimble, I want to pick your thoughts from the Kotoko point of view. Daniel has highlighted Hearts of Oak's biggest problem, which is scoring the goals because they create the opportunities. And we saw even in this game, they had, like you said, the better opportunities. That Ben Junior chance should be scoring. Muntari should be using a better technique than an acrobatic one. Kotoko, they came into this game in great form. They, on a per analysis on Friday night, they even possessed the better players. But like Daniel indicated, they weren't as dominant as we expected them to be. Is it a case of Kotoko, people just saying perhaps, okay, you know what, it's an away game, let's be happy? Or you think genuinely Kotoko would be very disappointed that they didn't win this game?
I think, personally, they disappointed me. Because to be honest with you, I think they came into the game without any pressure. And if you are that relaxed, that is where we're supposed to see your A game. Because at the end of the day, they knew the gap before the game, 12 points. So they were not completely playing under any sort of pressure to go and win this game.
Yeah.
So they should have come into the game very prepared and ready to express themselves. But they look a bit timid for my liking, especially in that first half. Mm-hmm. It's like what we've come to identify them with. That fluidity, that off-the-ball movement, that Mudasiru sort of, although I want to believe strongly that Samoboedu did listen to Sports Panorama. When I made the point,
a number on him.
I said, look, he's my good friend. I said, look, if you are listening, find a way to stifle Mudasiru.
Yeah.
And you take a lot from this Kotoko team. Because look, what that boy does, no other Kotoko midfielder can do.
Yeah.
Because he's the only player who can go past the opponent as if they are not there.
That's true.
And when he sees the gap in front of him, the desire, the drive, the tenacity with which
the power
with which he goes through.
None of the other midfielders.
None of the Lamte, the Agadas. No, they are just ball winners and pass and then try and play. But he is a complete technician with a zero. So if you stifle him, you've taken something away from them. And I was happy that somebody compare Kotoko to find a plan B. That is where they started struggling. In that first half, they hardly got the ball to Mbege. Is that their name? Mbege.
It's Mbege
and Bella. Okay, so they hardly got the ball to these two very influential guys. And again, you were at the stadium. They felt it, didn't they?
They did.
The moment
very
the game
early on,
started,
Salim was very likely to stay on, to be honest.
It is part of the coaching. Nobody's saying go and kick them. They haven't been in such.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. They are doing so well in the league. We want foreign players to come. But when you have to play in our version of the Classico, and you are a foreigner, you need to be introduced properly to our league. And the best way to do that is to get him to feel involved in sensation. And I was happy when...
But in all honesty, I don't think our league is more physical than the Cameroonian league, to be honest.
Well, this is our version. This is our version of our league. So I was so happy when they were reminded. You see, when Salim gave it to him, he helped him off the come on, stand up. Yeah. He told him, this is our version of our Classical. But apart from that again...
Let's go through the chances. This one.
Ali Muntari, is he?
What's wrong with what he did there? Technique?
If only we could go back.
Yes.
If only we could go back to the acrobatics. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, there wasn't the need for that. Mm-hmm. So
here,
the
corner is floated in.
The corner is floated in.
All right. It's cleared.
Okay. I just need you to... Okay, pause it here. Pause it.
Oh, God.
You see, look at that. He's a left-footed player.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the Kotoko player is
and then here, right.
This year, when the ball was coming,
onside.
He was onside. There was absolutely...
Could have even tested it.
He could have just brought it onto his favorite foot. And if that ball has landed onto his foot, who is in the post? Who is that?
Danlad.
He dare not make an attempt. Because the power in the drive would have been absolute.
So that's the wrong technique.
That's obviously the wrong technique. There wasn't the need for that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Ali,
and he doesn't hit that
with all your experience.
All right. And then this opportunity, namely...
look, I think it's a brilliant save.
Oh,
but
wow.
I think he gave the keeper every chance.
I mean, the technique alone.
It's not, for me, it's not even the technique. It's a movement.
Yes,
look at this. Look at that. He saw it. Easy. Look. This guy is a proper striker. I mean, he's a proper striker. Wow. You see?
And then the clearest opportunity of the game, namely.
Come on, man. Look, you see, there was no need to actually go for power.
That's right.
Because if you look at it, you could clearly see him not raising his head. If he had raised his head, I'm sure if Mbella or Mfege had gotten this ball,
that's okay.
he would have raised his head and clearly see where the goalkeeper is and pick his spot and just go for it.
Interesting.
Okay?
There was a key moment in the game, obviously, that we'd like to highlight. There was a penalty call, that was let go, and I'm not sure. Daniel, you were in the game. This is it.
I think he was clear offside.
You see, that's my point. I was at the stadium, so I didn't
Before
see.
the pass was made.
But look
at the pass.
He wasn't offside.
Look at it. No.
He's offside.
The ball is gone, Nimble. Now look at his position.
He wasn't offside.
Definitely
he wasn't offside.
Yeah.
And you see, my point is, there was a clear pool.
This angle wasn't. Is not the best of angles.
Okay, we'll bring it. It's coming. Don't worry. It will come back again. We'll pause it.
This angle is not the best of angles. Come on, he's off.
He wasn't offside.
No, he's off.
He wasn't offside.
You see, if that is where our game is at the moment, but we should be virtually mimicking that line. Start time should be in the position.
He's not. You can clearly see he's not
definitely
offside.
not. Check well. And the ball had barely left the foot of the player.
He wasn't off. You see, and
he wasn't off.
There was a clear pool. There was a huge penalty cry. And
he wasn't off.
Everybody's attention went to the linesman. So initially, when the linesman put up his flag, I thought it was a penalty. But then it looked like he whistled for an offside. But you see, these are fine margins.
So Daniel, what you're saying is that the only reason that wasn't a penalty was because of the offside call.
Because this was a clear penalty. There was a pool.
I don't think he was off.
There was a pool.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't offside. No, he wasn't. This is not
no,
offside.
he wasn't. He wasn't offside. He wasn't offside.
And this is huge. This is in the 91st minute.
Maybe
this is a penalty for Kotoko.
A penalty is a penalty.
Yeah, it is a penalty. That's my very typical
of our referees. The first minute, the
91st.
Very typical of our referees. They say, "Come on, this is the biggest game. We've officiated this. At this moment, I give. Come on, let's go play on, man.
No, but see, but it's happened before. I think
we shouldn't allow this.
2 seasons ago, Kotoko got a last minute penalty. I think it was Naby Keita who scored it. But I don't think our referees are afraid. I think, and you see, I don't blame the referee. I blame the linesman because the first thing the referee did was to look at the linesman. And when he whistled for offside, because that's what I'm telling you, if the linesman hasn't put up his flag for an offside, it was like the referee would have given the penalty. Would have given
the ones he flagged. He needed to pay attention to.
All right, so that's the lowdown on the Super Clash. Let me hear from you. Send me a message. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'll read them. The messages are coming in. Leave me a message on Twitter using the hashtag Scorecard. Daniel?
Last one. We can't talk about this game without giving props to Dennis Kosa. I think this is one of the best individual performances.
The Hearts of Oak
left back. This is one of the best individual performances we've seen in a super clash. It was, look, from start to finish, it was one of those games where by the 50th minute, anytime he touched the ball, the whole stadium,
the supporters were
because he did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. Everything was on point. In fact, it was even funny. We were joking about it at the stadium. Mfuege started on the right-hand side. Then he wasn't doing too well. Then Afuakwa went there. Afuakwa failed miserably and was substituted. Isaac Opon came. He started off on the left-hand side. Then he went to Kosa's side. He didn't sit up. He was brought back. And now Kotoko just basically started focusing the attacks down Fatal side because they just knew that there was no way they were going to get past Afuakwa.
But I was a bit shocked that Kotoko didn't highlight Fatal.
They didn't target him.
Yeah, I mean, they should have. He's always been the weakest link in the Hearts of Oak.
Okay, that's okay.
No, but he's always been. We are analysing. I said, he's always been. That's the fact.
Hearts of Oak obviously look like they found their perfect replacement for Radio Vuka. So Dennis Kosa getting all this plaudits for his performance in the Super Clash. There was Champions League action, CAF Champions League action, match day 2 action, and the results quite shocking. ES Teeth, they hosted Raja Casablanca and they lost by 1-0. The Algerian team against the Moroccan side. All right, so Raja Casablanca going all the way to Algeria and getting a narrow 1-0 win. Petro Atletico, the Angolan team, they hosted Wydad Casablanca, another Moroccan side, and they beat them by 2-1. All right, so Petro Atletico showing Wydad where power lies. After match week 2 of the CAF Champions League. Al Ahly also drew their game. Let me show you what the standings are. It will give you a better perspective, starting with Group A, of course. So that's the Group A. Mamelodi Sundowns, top of the group, 1 win, 1 draw. And Al Ahly, they didn't play a match day 1, and then they drew in their match day 2 fixture. So they have 1 point there. Al Merrikh and Al Hilal, all of them on 1 point. Let's go to Group B. Raja Casablanca, 6 points, maximum, 2 wins out of 2. Amazulu of South Africa also getting 1 win. ES Setif, their opening day victory means they are 3rd now. They lost their 2nd group game. Horoya SC of Guinea still looking for their 1st win. In Group C, ES Tunis, all right, that's Esperance, okay? They have 4 points, 1 win, 1 draw. Sirab Bulistad of Algeria, ESS Setif also. No, sorry, ESS is different from Setif is from Algeria. This ESS with 2 points. Galaxy FC of Botswana also with 1 point. Let's look at the finals group standings. Petro Atletico, 4 points. Wydad 3, Zamalek 2. So 2 draws out of their opening 2 games from Zamalek, and Esperança of Angola with just the 1 point from the CAF Champions League group stages.
The Angolans have 2 teams in the same group.
They do have 2 teams, yes. Botswana have 1 team there.
But they are both in the same group.
No, they're not in the same group.
Yeah.
They are.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, if only we could go back to
Petro Atletico on top and then Esperança at the bottom.
Whoa.
That's true. Interesting. Yeah.
That's going to be very interesting when they meet, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not uncommon in the CAF Champions League.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
But
teams.
again, look, it has to do with the standard. This is where we want our football to be, because at the end of the day, it will come down.
Every week we will show it to the people.
At the end of the day, it will come down to be like them. Put your football in order.
Yeah.
Put money, invest. To the government, it's time that some of that $25 million is put into our local.
Agreed.
That's the only way we can move forward. And to the people at the FA, we had a FA president who touted himself to be a guru when it comes to bringing sponsors on board. He's been in there for 2.5 years, close to 2.5 years.
They've been sponsors.
Come on, you want to coupon sponsors? You call that sponsorship?
Nimble,
Coupon, you go to Melton, you play
that.
1 match, then they give you coupon, 100 Ghana coupon. That's not the don't do that. Don't be saying that.
You
that
don't do that.
What I'm saying is factual, isn't it?
Different forms of
the sort of sponsors they are getting. That is not the sponsors that will change your game. We want this,
but they are contributing.
What sort of contribute? You give me coupon if I go.
That's not what all the sponsorship is about. That's not what all of the sponsorship is about.
Give me 1 million sponsors. There's no headline sponsors to the league. And then there's that one. Where's that other sponsor?
What's the headline sponsor of the EPL?
You're asking me.
Yes, they don't have.
They
don't
need
a headline.
don't need a headline sponsor.
But we also have a TV deal.
Oh, Charlie. Do you know what? We want our game to get there. That's all
true,
that we are
exactly.
saying. So step out there. There's a whole marketing department to the FA.
They have a head of marketing, actually.
Yes, and they only bring coupon sponsorship.
Oh, that's not true.
Thank you.
When you say only, that's what I mean. Doesn't mean that.
What are the other sponsors? They are coupons. I don't know why if you are saying things.
How can a sponsor like NASCO give coupons?
So the sponsorship we need is to be giving the player small phone or shaving. But they are coupons. Charlie,
don't do that.
If you win, they'll go and shave your beard. They'll go and shave. They'll go and shave your hair.
They give you clippers. But you need to look good. So they give you clippers. They give mobile phones. They give TVs.
No, but how would that change our game?
It will motivate the players.
Goodness me, don't do that. You see, these people.
You two don't do that.
We must challenge them to do better.
But I think
we shouldn't accept this level of.
Look, but all that
those sponsors are doing. I'm not saying. Don't get me.
That's what I want you to see.
No, I'm not saying they are. But that will not change our game.
I get that.
If you give me coupon, what am I going to use coupon for? It will, up to 100.
We need to take a break.
Oh boy, this one.
You're watching Scorecard on Citi TV. We have EPL to come. Some very interesting, exciting games to show you there. So we'll take a very short break now. I've got your messages as well. When we come back, I'll share some of them with the rest of you. Keep watching. All right, welcome back. This is Scorecard on Citi TV. Time now to bring you some Premier League highlights, of course, and we'll do that very, very briefly. But let me see if I can share some messages with the rest of our viewers. Jacob Tay Daglish says, concerning Chelsea attacking woes, I put all the blame on TT. How come a team full of gifted attackers are struggling to score? Havertz playing as a winger and Pulisic as number 10 is just not working. Play to Lukaku's strength. He will deliver, he says. All right. More messages here. What a disastrous day to coach. To what? Okay. Okay, let me see. Let me see and get some more messages here. Apologies. So I can get the messages out as quickly as possible. All right. This one says, and his name is Asedu Nunu. He says, Kosa is the best left back in our league. So, Coach Nimli, make sure you select him when you're doing your selection for the Ghana Black Stars. All right. And Nini Kisi says, House of Folk also has some wrong refereeing calls and offside decisions against them in critical moments. Be objective and fair in your analysis. Stop this dubious penalty claim. Interesting. Nameless says, Coach Chris always makes our evening with his diction. Coupon sponsors. Please win and go and shave your beard. Interesting. Ransford Akoto says, CAF should put in more effort to get the CAF Champions League on the screens of most TV stations in Africa. How is it that the UEFA Champions League is widely marketed and viewed in Africa much more than the CAF Champions League? Bismarck Styles says, I believe our league has grown past the paper tickets. We should be having online tickets for our games. So that's an interesting suggestion. Francis Kinunu, he says, looking at the kind of soccer other top clubs in Africa are playing and looking at our two top teams and what they played today, it was nothing to write home about. He's sending that message from Dieya Nkwanta. This message is from Kwabena Nkwanta Bisa. He says, Fent, there was no way you could tell if it was offside or even a pool, like Daniel said, because it was viewed from the wrong side. Don't know which one was the right side, but let me keep it going. Akwabwa Tete says, why is it a problem for a team like Man United to be fighting over captaincy? More important things to fight for. On a lighter note, Lukaku has 7 touches in 90 minutes. Oh, King Lukaku, he says. George Oko says Richard Data should be the Black Stars #1, period. Destiny, Do. And Numu says, Fent, what's wrong with my favorite strikers? Lukaku has decided to break Agogo's Zamalek record by having 7 touches in 90 minutes. I don't know where you got that record from, Junior Agogo at Zamalek from. Because Opta says since they started keeping records, this is the first time a player has had 7 touches. And you're saying that Agogo had a similar record that was broken when he was at Zamalek. All right. And he says, kudos to players like... all right. Okay, this message is from Perlo. He says, the ref's performance was good. I rate him 8 out of 9. Just a few touches, and he will be cool for any tough match. Anyway, the performance of both teams were great, and kudos to players like Kosa and Mo Alhassan and Richard Atta. They were superb. My good friend Mauna Bright Doe says, to think this is just a second start for Dennis Kosa speaks volumes of the inconsistency in Coach Boydou's lineups. He needs to trust the guys and play one forward for confidence sake. Great game by all standard. One more message and we can take some highlights. Sonia says, Fentio, how much do you owe Christopher Nimley? We the Chelsea fans are ready to pay. He they worry you too much. Long live Scorecard. Much love. He says. I'll read more messages. These messages are read down from Twitter. So I will read more messages from there as well as your messages on WhatsApp. But let me take you to England now and bring you our first highlights. That came from Selhurst Park, where Chelsea went and got a narrow 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. All right, so Chelsea struggled, but eventually they got it across. And the point everybody is making reference to, Romelu Lukaku played in that game. He had 7 touches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches in 90 minutes of football. That is the lowest any player has ever had over 90 minutes since Opta started keeping records. Very interesting stats for Romelu Lukaku. But let's take you to Anfield. That was where Liverpool hosted Norwich City. Norwich scored first in the second half, but Liverpool came back strong with Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, and new signing Luis Diaz getting on the score sheet. Luis Diaz getting off the mark for Liverpool. But what's a goal from Mohamed Salah? Absolutely brilliant. But let me take you to London, bring you highlights of Arsenal against Brentford. This was the first game of the opening of this particular season. Arsenal lost that particular game, but they got their revenge, winning 2-1. Thomas Partey getting in on the assist numbers. All right, so Arsenal got their revenge against Brentford, but what a goal. That second goal. Thomas Partey setting up Bukayo Saka for the winning goal there. All right, how about this? Let me take you to... I want to talk about this game an awful lot. The game that happened on Saturday night was the biggest game on the round. So I'm going to show you that one right now. Manchester City, the league leaders, they hosted Tottenham Hotspur, Pep Guardiola, against Antonio Conte. Conte called him the best manager in the world before the match. In the end, it was a Harry Kane masterclass that sank City at the Etihad. Wow. City didn't even get the chance to celebrate the equalizer. And Spurs made sure that they got that all-important third goal. Harry Kane had a masterclass performance to give them all the 3 points. That means that the title race is now well and truly back on, because Liverpool's victory meant that the gap between them and City stayed at 6 points. Liverpool have played 1 game less. Let me show you one more highlight. This game was at Ellen Road between 2 old rivals, Leeds United and Manchester United. United took a very comfortable 2-0 lead in the first half. Leeds hit back very quickly in the second, but United showed great, going on to win by 4-2. All right, Fred Amugi, or Pastor Fred, Nimbli's favorite player. What a wonderful goal. Came off the bench, immediate impact. 2 minutes later, bam, 3-2 before the final goal. Let's just start with this particular game and then analyze our way back. Namely, you and I watched that game together.
Yeah.
Very typical of Man United. Very comfortable, very dominant in the first half. At the beginning of the second half, they completely lost. They conceded 2 quick goals. And it was almost costly yet again. But Sancho, what a performance from him today.
I've always told many people that boy is a proper footballer. If you've watched Jadon Sancho from his days at Dortmund, he's the only player in this United team who is so confident in possession, maybe alongside Paul Pogba. He believes that once he takes charge of the run object, whoever is in front of him is just a passenger that he can just bypass and then proceed. He had a wonderful game. Talking about the game itself, look, I have always said that there are times where players need to take some of the responsibility. If consistently you've been throwing a lead away, or you've been letting lead slip, no matter how slim a lead it is. So it's been 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, that got slipped. Today it was what? 2-0. This is not the coach's fault. It cannot be the fault of the coach. It is clearly the players not focused enough and not doing what they are supposed to do. You cannot tell me that, okay, the Leeds first goal, the one that made it 2-1, that was a lucky goal. If you ask Rodrigo whether he meant that, he would tell you no, he didn't mean that. He was actually putting in a cross, and then he happened to maybe deceive David De Gea, whose position was such that if the cross had gone in, he would have just come out to plug the ball.
Yeah, you're talking about this?
Yeah, I'm talking about this very goal. If you ask him, he will admit that he wasn't aiming at goal. But just after conceding this goal, you needed to, because it was a derby, fiercely contested. They were 2-0 down, very silent. The supporters were all quiet. The moment they got that one goal, that made it a contest. Tactically, United players needed to take the steam out of the Leeds team.
Yeah.
Rather, in front of their goalposts, now under very rainy situations, soggy pitch, then they decided to pass the ball. And very typical of Leeds. They just bounced on them like that, like hungry lions, and then won the ball back, and then boom, 2-2. But there is another positive part of this. Ryan did say something that maybe 2 months ago, if you look at what the team has gone through, this same thing happened against Aston Villa, where they couldn't bounce back to actually get a win. But for them to have done what they did today, in a very tensely, fiercely contested game, credit must also be given to the players. But credit again must be given to the coach, because look, at the time Paul Pogba was Man United alongside Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
These two players were Man United's best players on the day.
The substitution was very sporty.
Everything Paul Pogba did today worked. But if you listen to Ryan, he said the reason why he had to effect that change, we all know that Paul has been out for a long trip. That is guaranteed. You need to be able to cover the grounds. You need to be able to burn a lot of energy, especially in the middle of the park. So Paul was a bit tired. But look at the substitution. Fred and Elanga. They came on. The two of them scored the third and the fourth goal. That, in my view, was good thinking on the part of the manager to quickly see what most of us didn't, because I didn't agree with the substitution of Paul Pogba.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was like, come on, man, why are you doing it? Because he's virtually the best player on the pitch. Why substitute? But he saw something that we didn't see. And you want to credit him for the substitution. Look, on the part of Leeds United, I'm beginning to worry for my mentor.
They'll come good. They'll survive.
They'll come good. But look, they've considered the goals
50.
against.
50.
50 goals.
That's the second highest. Only Norwich have conceded more. 53.
And you cannot do that. So for once, I would have thought that, yes, as a coach, it's good to have your philosophy, your identity, what you believe in. But if you look at the fact that they are missing most of their key players through injuries, you need to get them to be a bit difficult to lose games. But if the same thing is being repeated with the inexperienced guys, a very shaky back four, that is not being protected, that is not being shielded enough from midfield, they'll give chances away.
I mentioned the goalkeeper.
And the goalkeeper too. We all know how unsettled he's been throughout the season. Wednesday, they are going to Anfield. They're going to play Liverpool in that outstanding game. And now I'm looking at this. Look, if United is putting 4 past you at Ellen Road, Liverpool had the result against Man City, Tottenham against Man City. They know that is the game that will close the thing.
Could be a black
and make it a competition.
All right. Let me show you the 4 results from the Premier League this weekend. And then we can... so there you go. West Ham, Newcastle sharing the spoils. We showed you the Arsenal victory. Brighton lost at home to Burnley. Liverpool they beat Norwich 3-1. Southampton also beating Everton 2-0. So Frank Lampard struggling. Aston Villa, Steven Gerrard also struggling. They lost at home to Watford. He's now got 2 victories in the last 10. 1 in the last 8. So things not going very well for Steven Gerrard at the moment. Daniel is smiling. I know what he wants to say. And then the rest of the results, you see them there as well. Wolves also beating Leicester. So Brendan Rodgers' job is now in danger after that particular defeat. All right, we'll take a very short break. When we come back, I'll take Daniel's perspective on that game at the Etihad Stadium as well as the Liverpool and Chelsea matches. And then we'll take you around Europe to show you highlights from Spain, Italy, Germany, and some NBA. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Scorecard. All right, welcome back. This is Scorecard. We're on the last leg of the show. Let me read some messages from WhatsApp. This one is from Sagidi in Sohum. He says, so Kotoko couldn't beat Haas. All the same, thank God United was able to beat Leeds United. Greetings to my wife, Nancy Quaino. I'm still surprised you guys didn't highlight on the goalkeeping of the Super Clash. I thought was solid. Good evening, guys. Please kindly ask Coach about Dennis Kosa's performance today. Roland Vaxbone. This one says, please, I was at the stadium live in Khaled. The 2 teams didn't play any good football. Didn't tell me your name. This one says, we did not get proper football gem from the two teams. That's Haas and Kotoko's match. Isaac from Labadi. Good evening, guys. I'm a J. Sami. Can I have Coach Nimley's contact number? I just love the man and everything of him. Okay. That's an interesting way to ask for his number. Live
when
on
you
TV.
say you love everything. Me, I don't like that. Charlie.
Adimola in Oyibi says...
You should criticize me a bit. No.
Adimola in Oyibi says, why the name Super Clash for the game between the two most successful football clubs in Ghana? Spanish football has El Clasico. Italians have Derby de la Madonnina. If we have the Manchester Derby for Haas versus Olympic, we must coin a local name for this match too. Adimola, I'm officially asking for suggestions, so you send them in. All right. Abdul Wadu says, I'm watching you live from my boss, so I love your show. Adrian in Sakumono says, I'm elated the best football club in the world, Hamed Valencia. Barca are back, but I'm disappointed my beloved Kotoko couldn't secure all the 3 points as Richard Atta saved the Phobians and prevented noise pollution and their noisy supporters from bragging. This one says, good evening, Fentio. Coach Nimley and Cranton, keep up with a good job, but some pastor make a prediction on your TV that if Kotoko don't win, his chapel should be bent. So he's looking for his chapel.
So he will go and bend the pastor's chapel.
0550585832. Keep your messages coming. Also on Twitter, the hashtag is Scorecard. All right, Daniel, let me just take your thoughts on that game at the Etihad. Many people are calling it a tactical masterclass from Antonio Conte, but not maybe rightly so, because it's not the first time he's gone to the Etihad and he's beating Man City. He did it with Chelsea as well. Seems to have Pep Guardiola's number.
Look, it was a must-win for Tottenham Hotspur. They had lost 3 in a row. They couldn't have gone to the Etihad and lost again. And that's why I just had that feeling that, you see, when you are dealing with top managers, there are some things that you can cut them some slack for some bad runs. And for Conte, if you look at the nature of the games that Tottenham have lost, some of them they've just been poor. Some of them it was fine margins that let them lose. But they had to win this one, and you just knew that they'll go out to the Etihad and look, give out their best, and that's what they did. And it's the deployment of Harry Kane that just amazed me. It's something that we've seen, and I think we saw it come to light under Mourinho, his playmaking ability. And if you look at Kulusevski's goal, I think it was all from Harry Kane.
Yeah.
The one-time pass to Son, which opened the entire Manchester City defense up. And you see, it's the decision-making. The fact that he decided to go one time, knowing that if he had taken a touch before passing, Son would have been offside. As soon as the ball came to him, he had seen Son's eye from the corner and then picked the pass.
Unbelievable.
Solid,
he didn't even have to look.
See, and it's on his left foot also. It just shows you the technical ability that he has, and that was just brilliant. Look, the fact of the matter is that Man City will by all means create chances. They will come at you. No matter how well you defend, they will come at you. And Tottenham knew that. So then they also had to be potent up front. And when you have Harry Kane, you don't need to create 10 chances before he scores one. You know that if you create a 70% chance, he can put it in the back of the net. It doesn't necessarily have to be the perfect opportunity. And that's what Tottenham Hotspur did. They took their chances. Is what they did. And you see, it was fine margins. This game could easily have been, this would have been 3-1. Just fine margins. It was Kulusevski who just started his run a bit earlier. And it's one of those offside decisions where if he was onside, the goal would still have happened. It was one of those things. And I'm really happy Tottenham Hotspur got the 3 points, because that last minute penalty was very painful. It reminded me of their game against a man up because of Robertson's red card, but they were still not able to go over the line. It is something that Conte has spoken about, their lack of mental toughness. And in this game, they showed that they were an Antonio Conte team, dug deep, and they were able to find the winner at the depth. So it was good. And you see, it's also good for the Premier League.
It is.
A few weeks ago, we were sitting here saying Manchester City have run away with the title. But come next week, it could be a 3-point race with Liverpool facing Leeds during the weekend. You expect them to beat them. So it could easily, next week by this time, it could be 3 points between the two teams. And it makes it more interesting. Now Manchester City will have to bring their attention back to the league. And it makes the dynamics nice to see. It's not like we are sitting here like the Bundesliga and then the other leagues out there where one person is just running away with the title. This is the Premier League that we recognize.
No, Nimri, I want you to comment on Liverpool. Luis Diaz.
Look, he's a good player. I don't know, but
it's almost so natural.
Yeah. Credit be given to the guys in charge of Liverpool. And that is the problem Chelsea is going through. Maybe the scout at Chelsea didn't see Romelu Lukaku coming to fit into that system. Unlike Diaz, Jurgen Klopp identified the player through his scouting team. He comes, bang, and he's just gone into the system.
He's so comfortable.
And the system has made him,
even from the Champions League game to this case.
It's like he's been there for years. He's been there for years. And for me, look at the movement. Look at the movement towards the goal.
Yeah.
Look at the diagonal, okay? He was playing on the right-hand side of the midfield. But look at the diagonal movement. And the pass was super. Look at the control. Control with his right foot. Watch the goalkeeper and just chipped him. Yeah. And for me, you need to be a player booming in confidence to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Unlike the Chelsea game, what did you say? Romelu Lukaku
7 touches,
7 touches
in 90
minutes. It tells you there's something wrong at Chelsea. In fact, I watched the game, and for me, nobody should blame Romelu Lukaku. The system, look, there were times he will show up, give him the ball, they won't give him the ball. There were times he will point. When he takes off, he will point, put the ball there, they will not put the ball there. And I was asking myself, what sort of team will play with the lead striker and don't want to get him involved in the build-up?
Yeah.
Or don't want to look out for him to be scoring goals for them? I just don't get it. Okay? When Chelsea, it's like, from the way they are playing, they are better off without him. They are better off without Romelu Lukaku. So he should not be in this team. It's rather they put him on the bench. Because you cannot spend over 90 million pounds on a player and expect the player to put aside all his game. The sort of football he was playing that made you think that you could spend 95 million, 100 million pounds on him. You want him to abandon all those and come and find a way to adjust into a system. Nobody does that. If I'm the bank roller and you tell me I should give you 100 million to go and spend on a player who you don't know how to use, but rather will have to put aside his and come and learn how the system works and fit in. That is
Daniel, this Lukaku situation.
I have a different opinion about that. You see, there are two ways to buy a player. Coach has said both, but he said the Lukaku one in a negative light. There's the Luis Diaz and the way Liverpool go about their business, where they have a system and they buy players whose style in entirety can fit the system. But there are also some systems where, and you see, Chelsea identified a need. Mm-hmm. Lukaku has a lot of attributes, but he has, let's say he has 8 attributes. But Chelsea's system needs number 2 out of the 8. Mm-hmm. And Chelsea went to buy him because of that number 2. Mm-hmm. Because Tuchel feels that if he gets that number 2, his system is complete. Mm-hmm. So if you judge Lukaku in isolation, you will say he's not fitting into the Chelsea system. Mm-hmm. But look at the Club World Cup like this. How many touches and how involved was he in the entire game? We hardly saw him, and then boom, yes, he puts the ball in the back of the net. Go back to the start of the season. Yeah. The goal he scored against Arsenal. Mm-hmm. That game, you would only see Lukaku when the ball was in the final third. That's it. When Chelsea lobbed the ball.
And they looked for him.
And anytime he touched it, it was a chance. He wasn't involved in build-up. You see, so it tells you that that's why when I see these stats, sometimes they annoy me. If you look at Lukaku's average touches, that's when we'll get the clearer picture. He hardly touches the ball because in the system, it is not his job to drop deep and be playing. His job is to be there. And when the ball comes, he puts it in the back of the net. I think it was 75th minute. Had he timed his run better, it could easily have been an assist for, is it a fantasy assist for Ziyech, where he hit the ball, rebound, and Ziyech scored. The first goal Ziyech scored, that was chalked off. That is his job. Be on the edge of the last defender. time your run perfectly, you get the chance and score. Your job is not to be involved in touches.
Yeah, but I think the ultimate question Nimli is asking is that
I'm not talking about
why isn't the ball getting to him?
Yes. And I think, you see, I'm coming to it. And I think that one of the main reasons, I've looked at when he played at Inter. I've asked myself that question several times. He had a strike partner, okay, that allowed him to switch position with Lautaro Martinez.
Whether we like it or not, remember Lukaku actually likes to drop out.
Drop out wide. But in this Chelsea setup,
those
the
positions are
occupied. Those positions are always occupied.
Can I draw your attention to something that is very obvious in this Chelsea system?
Go ahead.
When Lukaku started the season, he was playing with Timo Werner. They had built a fantastic partnership.
Yes.
They were on form. And then both of them got injured. Since he's come back, he's not had that opportunity. You see, there are different players and different styles. So when he's playing with Timo Werner, we sort of see that Inter Milan player where Timo Werner is able to make those runs around him, offer him space to be moving in, and he's. But when Timo Werner is not around, that's what I'm saying. Look, it is a system. Personally, and you see,
he is there.
What's wrong with him?
He's
out of form.
Out of form. You see, let me just quickly make this point before we move on. For a team like Man United, the system is around. It's a system that is working, but it also works and it thrives on individual brilliance. You need some players to come to the party. Yeah, right. If those players are not around, the system will be faltering. But with Chelsea, the system is there. You just need to do your part. Just be there to pass. So you don't necessarily need Lukaku to be around. That is why when Lukaku was absent, Chelsea were still getting results. Yeah. It's one of those things.
So that's what I'm saying. They are better without him.
I don't think they are better without him.
They were winning games.
They were winning games with him. He got injured. Yeah. He's come back. What has gone wrong? Win games with him.
But they are winning.
But they are winning.
No, come on, man.
They are winning. You only have a problem because he's not scoring. But Chelsea are winning. Anyway, let's move to Spain.
They are
Barcelona.
in the league.
Barcelona, they were away at Valencia. And it was a thumping victory for them. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang got a brace for himself. There it is. So, there. Brilliant. Fabulous finish. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. This is what he's known for, Daniel.
Yeah.
Scoring. Typical striker, wonderful way to get his account off the mark.
It's a proper striker, and I'm happy he's smiling and he's scoring goals again.
Of course.
After being treated the way he was treated at Arsenal, and look, and you see, for the Arsenal situation, I don't care what anybody says. We all knew Aubameyang's temperament before Arteta walked in, and Arteta was able to win an FA Cup with his temperament. He was able to win the Community Shield with Aubameyang's temperament. So if all of a sudden it was just an unfair treatment from the head coach and from Arsenal, especially somebody who's done so as much as he did for the club. He was about 8 or 7 goals away from scoring 100 goals in a club that is in such a bad state. It just shows you how good of a player he was, and for him, this is very good for him. I just hope that he can continue this fine and vein of form. And I can't mention Aubameyang and not mention Arsenal. I'm afraid. I'm honestly afraid for Arsenal because you see,
it's going to come down.
They are on a run. They are on a run, but we are in a very critical time in the season, and we see this thing happen all the time. Arsenal don't have depth. If one injury to the attacking lineup, and that is it for them. We saw it, and you see, they were very lucky during the Christmas and January period. The fact that they had most of their games postponed, because there was a point where they didn't have a fit midfielder in the team, they didn't have a fit centre forward, and had those games gone on, we would have seen how they would have struggled. But luckily for them, some of those games were postponed, and they were able to escape. And you see, these things will happen if you are playing week in, week out. You are playing a league. Look, see, and the pressure to finish in the top 4 is also there, especially when it's within touching distance. It is there. So one injury can completely finish everything. And that's why I just feel like some of these things could have been handled
And
better.
I think that the more Aubameyang does well, the more his success will highlight Arsenal's failures. It's just unavoidable that it will happen. Every time Aubameyang does well, people will remind Arsenal of their failures. Real Madrid, on the other hand, league leaders, they got a 3-0 win against Alaves. Karim Benzema, yet again, they campaign in that particular victory as well. There you go. So, namely, at the moment, they have I believe a 5-point lead.
5-point lead. Look, I think they'll win the league without a doubt. It will be so unacceptable with the sort of manager they've got, Carlo Ancelotti, for them to be leading this league for this long a time and end up throwing it away. If you look at their immediate competitor, that is Sevilla. Sevilla themselves are doing very, very well. But as to whether they've got a character, they've got a desire, they've got what it takes to push Real Madrid all the way and then try and nick the title off them, I think that is where the problem is. And I think it will again come down to the game between the two sides. The two sides are yet to play in that second leg. And once it is that, look, I watched this game and this goal from Isco.
Marco Asensio, this is typical of him.
Asensio, very, very super. And at the time, it was in the second half. The first half had ended goalless. They had come out and everything was not going well. And look, the manner in which he just picked his spot and went for that strike.
And your good friend, Vinicius Jr., he was in the thick of everything.
Look, that boy, under Carlo Ancelotti,
look at him.
He's grown. He's now a man. He's now a true man. He's now a man. I think he's the real deal now. I can imagine. Can you imagine
look at
this
the build
boy
up to this goal
alongside Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland? Come on, man.
I will not play Champions League again. You should just give them the trophy.
He's going to get serious.
So 3-0 victory for Real Madrid. Karim Benzema with the third goal there. I just want to show you this Atletico Madrid game because Luis Suarez scored a stunning goal in their 3-0 win against Osasuna there as well. And
this game actually prepares them for that Wednesday Champions League game against Manchester United at the Wanda Metropolitano. And I think it is going to be a very, very tight game.
All right. Let me show you the full results from La Liga this weekend, and then we can roll it on, see who won what. So you see that Villarreal also getting a 4-1 win away at Granada. Elche beating rival Lucano. Cadiz and Getafe sharing the spoils there. Espanyol and Sevilla also ending in a 1-1 draw. And you see the rest of the results basically all playing out fantastically there. Let me take you to Italy. League leaders, AC Milan, they visited Salernitana. They needed to just, Salernitana are awful in the league. Bottom place, really. So AC were expected to win easily, consolidate their lead at the top. They didn't. They ended in a 2-2 draw. All right, so interesting results from the Serie A. Inter Milan losing at home. AC Milan, of course, also drawing. So AC Milan still have top of the table there. Roma also came from 2 goals down to draw 2-2 in their own match. So very interesting matches there. Let me show you the full results from the Serie A now. There you go. AS Roma draw against Verona. You see there too. Sampdoria also winning 2-0 against Empoli, Juve and Torino. It was a Turin derby ending 1-1. And Sassuolo's win against Inter Milan. You see it at the bottom there. All right. Let me take you to Germany now and show you goals galore. 10 goals I'm about to show you. Borussia Dortmund, the Battle of Borussia, they beat Mönchengladbach by 6-0. And Bayern Munich, they beat Greuther Fürth by 4-1. Take a look. All right. So there you had it. Dortmund and Bayern Munich scoring for fun. But that's our show for tonight. So much time would allow us. The NBA All-Star Weekend was this weekend. Cats won the 3-point championship, and then Obi Toppin took the slam dunk, an underwhelming slam dunk championship. Coach Nimley, thank you very much as usual. Daniel Cranting as well. Thank you to my producer, Bernard Estelle. Say thank you all for tuning in for your messages. Until next time, and to my directors, of course, I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.